clean slate she's been waiting for. After a 2025 season where she spent more time in recovery mode than in full-on superstar mode, the conversation around her is starting to shift. Last year with the Indiana Fever was supposed to be her big leap, the season where the Clark era in the WNBA took over. Instead, it turned into a grind of injuries, limitations, and what-ifs. She played only 13 games in that 2025 campaign. 13. For a player who is used to carrying huge minutes and volume, that alone tells you how rough it was. The Fever still made a run, pushing all the way to the WNBA semifinals before falling to the Las Vegas Aces, who went on to win the championship yet again. But Clark was never fully unleashed. She never got into a rhythm. At no point was she able to stay on the floor for more than 5 straight games without her body breaking down. Indiana's front office had a choice to make late in that season: squeeze whatever they could out of her and risk long-term damage, or hit pause and think about the next 10 years, not the next 10 days. They chose the long view. They shut things down, dialed back her workload, and accepted that without a fully healthy Caitlin Clark, there was a ceiling on how far they could go anyway. That decision sent a clear message. This isn't about chasing one desperate playoff run. This is about building a franchise around a 23-year-old centerpiece and making sure she's still dominating the league deep into her prime. Now, for the first time in what feels like a long time, the conversation isn't centered around injury reports, rest days, or minute restrictions. It's about what a healthy Caitlin Clark can do again for the Fever, for USA Basketball, and for the direction of the entire women's game. Her real reintroduction came not in an official WNBA game, but on a college campus in North Carolina. Last month, Clark was back under bright lights in Durham, joining 18 other WNBA standouts at Duke University for USA Women's Basketball Training Camp. This wasn't just another tune-up camp. It felt like a national rollout for the next wave of stars. 10 of the players there were making their senior national team debuts. That alone tells you how different this group looks compared to past cycles. Angel Reese was there, fresh off her rise with the Chicago Sky. Paige Bueckers was there, already carrying the title of reigning WNBA Rookie of the Year. And then you had Clark, back in full motion, moving comfortably, hitting shots, and looking far more like the player fans expected to see last season in Indiana. Watching clips from that camp, you could sense that USA Basketball was entering a new phase. For years, the program has been borderline untouchable, stacking up 8 straight Olympic gold medals. That doesn't happen by accident. It happens because veteran stars set a standard and then carefully hand things off to the next generation. But what made this camp different was how clearly that transition was happening in real time. You had players like Chelsea Gray, 4-time WNBA champion, 2022 Finals MVP, one of the smartest guards the league has ever seen, sharing the court and the locker room with Clark, Reese, and Bueckers. The age gap was obvious, but so was the respect. Gray talked to Sports Illustrated's Maria Clifton about how much these younger players are bringing to the table, and it wasn't just a generic compliment. She admitted that the creativity from the new wave is pushing her to expand her own game. She even pointed out a specific move from Paige Bueckers during practice, an in-and-out dribble into a hook-style layup, and basically said, "Yeah, I'm stealing that." When a veteran with multiple rings and a Finals MVP is saying a rookie's move is going into her bag, that tells you everything about the level of talent coming in. That respect is mutual. The young group knows they're stepping into a program built by legends. The veterans know they're watching the faces of the future. And somewhere right in the middle of all that is Caitlin Clark, whose offensive flair has been one of the driving forces behind the WNBA's recent explosion in ratings, ticket sales, and national attention. Clark and Bueckers in particular bring an element of creativity that not only fills up highlight reels, but also shapes how the game is played. Deep pull-up threes, cross-court dimes, timing, pace changes. It's the kind of playmaking that forces defenses to stretch in ways they're not used to. It's no coincidence that as these types of players arrive in the league, attendance and viewership numbers are hitting new highs. And that same creativity we saw at Duke has spilled into another fast-growing piece of the women's basketball landscape, the Unrivaled League. If you follow the off-season scene, you know Unrivaled is not just some sideshow. It's a serious 3-on-3 competition, built and played by WNBA talent, now in its 2nd season. It's faster, more compact, and puts players in constant action. No hiding, no long breaks. It's a spotlight format. Chelsea Gray has basically been the face of Unrivaled in that environment. Coming into this season, she was the reigning Finals MVP after leading Team Rose to the inaugural championship. She did it alongside Angel Reese and Kyla Copper, forming a trio that was almost unfair in 3-on-3 space. Gray's vision, Angel's energy and physicality, and Copper's slashing ability worked perfectly in a format that punishes hesitation and rewards aggression. This year, though, there's a new challenger making noise in that league, Paige Bueckers. In her debut for Team Breeze, Bueckers didn't ease her way into Unrivaled. She dropped 24 points, dished 6 assists, and pulled down 5 rebounds right out of the gate. That stat line isn't just good, it's a statement. It says she's not just a nice young piece or a hype machine coming out of college. She's already good enough to go head-to-head with established pros in a demanding environment and control the floor. Watching Bueckers light it up in Unrivaled, while also earning praise from Team USA veterans, tells you where the league is headed. The guard position in women's basketball is absolutely stacked, and the skill level at the top is getting scary. But while the Unrivaled court is buzzing with big names and breakout performances, there's one major name you won't see there again this season: Caitlin Clark. For the second year, Clark has decided not to suit up in the Unrivaled League. It's not because she can't thrive in that format. Her game is tailor-made for wide-open spacing and quick-hitting offense. Instead, she's chosen to stay out of the 3-on-3 circuit entirely and lock in on something else: her body.
5. It makes total sense. When you've had a season where you literally can't string together more than 5 consecutive games, your priority changes. Clark is on an individualized training plan, centered on physical conditioning, strength work, recovery, and making sure the same issues don't creep back in once the WNBA season ramps up again. And here's where things get even more complicated around her decision. Normally, a star player can schedule her offseason around a known WNBA timeline, but right now, the entire league is in a strange holding pattern. The WNBA and its players are locked in tense negotiations over a new collective bargaining agreement. The Players' Union and Commissioner Kathy Engelbert haven't reached a deal yet, and that stalemate has pushed a big question mark over the 2026 season. There isn't even a confirmed start date. Training camps, travel, scheduling, everything is up in the air until that CBA is resolved. That uncertainty affects everyone, but it hits players like Caitlin Clark in a specific way. She's not just a star guard, she's one of the primary faces of the league, a key part of the marketing machine, and someone whose workload is heavy even off the court, with appearances, endorsements, and media obligations. Not knowing exactly when the next WNBA season tips off makes detailed planning harder, but it also reinforces why she and her camp are so focused on controlling what they can control: her health, her conditioning, and her skill work. Skipping Unrivaled and back-to-back off-seasons might disappoint some fans who want to see Clark in every possible setting, but from a long-term perspective, it's a calculated move. The Fever need her at 100%. Team USA sees her as a central piece for future tournaments, and she knows better than anyone how quickly things can unravel when injuries pile up. Meanwhile, fans are left piecing together where she stands from the limited glimpses they get. Clips from USA basketball practice, short videos from personal workouts, the occasional training camp highlight. That mystery actually adds to the anticipation. It feels like everything is quietly building toward a full-force return. At the same time, you've got Paige Bueckers putting on a show in Unrivaled, Angel Reese dominating the paint in both WNBA and 3x3 action, and Chelsea Gray still operating as the gold standard of veteran leadership and creativity. The contrast is fascinating. You have one generational talent sitting out the offseason chaos to get her body right, and another walking straight into the fire and thriving. But even if Clark and Bueckers are taking different paths this offseason, their futures are tightly linked. We've already seen the spark between them at USA basketball camp. 2 elite guards, both with a flair for the dramatic, both capable of running an offense and taking over a game. Put them in the same backcourt, and you get a glimpse of what the next decade of international women's basketball could look like. Put them on opposing WNBA teams in a playoff series, and you get the kind of rivalry that can define an era. That's what fans are waiting to see on a regular basis, that Team USA chemistry carrying over into high-stakes WNBA games. The creativity Clark showed in Iowa, the poise Bueckers developed at UConn, and then as a rookie WNBA player. Angel Reese's relentless motor, Chelsea Gray's veteran genius, when all of that collides within the league, it's going to be must-watch basketball. And it's not just about the on-court product. The rise of players like Clark, Bueckers, and Reese has had a real-world impact on attendance and TV numbers. You're seeing more arenas sold out, more national broadcasts, more people talking about the WNBA as appointment viewing. USA Basketball knows it, the league office knows it, the veterans know it. This next wave isn't just carrying the torch, they're reshaping the landscape entirely. For Caitlin Clark, this new year feels like a turning point. The months defined by rehab and medical reports are behind her, at least for now. Instead, the conversation is about whether she can regain that rhythm, that deep pull-up range, that court vision, and that swagger that made her one of the most watched players in basketball. Not just women's basketball, but basketball in general. The Indiana Fever have been patient, but their expectations are high sky. They didn't preserve her long-term health just to hover around the middle of the standings. They believe a fully healthy Clark can be the engine of a championship-caliber roster. The Aces have been the measuring stick for the whole league. Getting knocked out by Las Vegas in the semifinals without Clark at full strength was frustrating. Getting another shot with her actually healthy would be a totally different challenge. Layer on top of that her role with USA Basketball. The program has 8 straight Olympic gold medals to protect, and the rest of the world is getting better every year. The margin for error is shrinking. That's why this blend of hardened veterans and fearless young stars is so important. Clark, Bueckers, and Reese aren't just fun to watch, they're crucial to keeping USA on top. And then you've still got this CBA situation hanging over everything. Whatever deal eventually gets done is going to shape travel, salary structure, revenue sharing, and day-to-day life for players like Clark for years to come. The stakes are massive. It's no surprise that so many top players are being very intentional with where they play, how much they play, and what they risk in the offseason while all of that is unresolved. So here's where things stand right now. Caitlin Clark enters the new year healthier, more focused, and with a clear plan. No unrivaled, no extra wear and tear, just targeted work to make sure her next WNBA season is finally the one where she gets to play free of constant setbacks. Paige Bueckers is using every platform available, from Team USA camp to the unrivaled league, to prove that her Rookie of the Year label is only the beginning. Angel Reese continues to build her brand as one of the most dominant and marketable forwards in the game. Chelsea Gray is bridging the gap between eras, still winning, still teaching, still learning new tricks from players a decade younger. And all of it is happening with fans waiting for one thing: that moment when the uncertainty around the CBA clears, the WNBA schedule locks in, and Caitlin Clark jogs back onto a league court as the player she was always meant to be. If last year was about survival, this year is about redefinition. We're about to find out what a fully healthy Caitlin Clark looks like on a Fever team with real ambitions, inside a league that's changing fast, alongside a new generation of stars who are just as hungry as she is. When the WNBA finally tips off its next season, and when those Team USA lineups get released for the next major international tournament, remember where this all started. A bruising 2025 campaign, a carefully managed setback, a return to form in Durham, an unrivaled league buzzing without one of its biggest possible names, and a silent promise from one of the game's brightest stars that the best is still coming.